Welcome back to another reaction, this time for Gnosia episode 2. So, we failed, we died, we went back in time. I did check out Steam, and Gnosia is a game, which, interesting, okay. I will see if I need to check it out after the anime. There are probably going to be people telling me, if there's some parts still left to uncover. But now it makes more sense again. I did check the developers. They did not make any of these Zero Escape games, but it feels very similar. So let's see. I don't know how this continues because we went back in time. We know who the Gnosia is now. Are we going to have a problem getting them out? Let's see. Only problem I could see is getting people on my side, but Setsu should be on his side, right? By the way, it could also be that our main character is also non-gender. Oh. Now this is interesting because we went back with the little cube that this character gave us, which is curious. Okay. Whew. So the opening showed us two people that were evil. One is SQ, the other one is Cardio, whatever the other non-gender dude is. Now, the opening is very interesting. We see a lot of other characters. There seems to be a bigger version of this going on as well. Maybe later, who knows? There's a bunch of dudes, bunch of people. And it is very interesting. It reminds me so much of like Zero Escape and stuff, which is my only connection point. So we also saw versions where he got voted out, which is interesting. So it feels like the game. I'm assuming the game is similar to like the more complicated version of it, where you have branching paths of branching paths of branching paths. again, Zero Escape is my best example, where you do a decision, as example, who you vote as or for in the first round. And depending on who you vote for, you have like 4 different branches. And each of those have then 3 additional branches because of the vote you do after that. Some end in you being voted off, some in some other people. Sometimes you get the person you want, the Gnosia. Sometimes you don't. Again, this fee is very complicated. I did see it was very highly rated. So I may check it out. I'm assuming we don't get through all of the branches in the show, but we will have to see. The game may even have more going on. Who knows? But yeah, there was a lot of people. I mean, the last screen here, you have like all these characters that are quote unquote evil because everyone could be the Gnosia. And you have to play, I guess, to find out who it is. I don't know how the game handles it. Is it random every time? Because it seems like we are going to have another Gnosia this time. Otherwise, it would be too easy. You would just vote out SQ, which would be shame, and you would be done with it. Now, hear me out. Maybe we give her a second chance. Maybe we take her invitation. Just saying. But the question is, if you had that power, why didn't you use it yourself? Why him? Was it his power? Did he give you his power earlier? They probably don't know what you mean. I'm assuming Setsu is also non-gender. I'm really wondering how this power came to be. Why did Setsu have that? Why didn't they use it themselves? Do they have the power now again? Could they give it to him again? And because of this interaction, I feel like Setsu is not going to trust him. Them? Question mark? Already forgot his name. Yuri? Yuri. I believe Setsu is not going to trust Yuri. And he's going to be, oh, excuse the Gnosia, but she's not. I told you I'm not a man. I'm assuming they don't have a gender because we did establish that that is the thing that can happen. Or is part of the universe. Meaning Setsu is non-gender or the gender changes. It's not a he, clearly, not a man. They last loop where like I'm not a woman and SQ called them a woman. This time SQ calls them a man and they're like, I'm not a man. The question is non-gendered, potentially, or they are now a woman in this loop, meaning stuff has changed. Why did stuff change? I don't know. I'm assuming that the Gnosia, the whole hive mind, is interfering with his ability to go back in time and is changing how the word works.
てるだろ。記憶喪失はどう？名前わかる？
SQ。
おお、大正解。即性学習、それなりに聞いてますね。もしくは、そもそも記憶喪失じゃないとか。何？まだ混乱中でございますか？多少ね。そんな顔してると、ラキオに言われちゃいます。
Right. Again, in the opening, she was seen as or shown as bad and Raku, which I hope it's not him, because that would be quite a spoiler in the opening. Meanwhile, at the end, you saw like the whole group being evil, all the characters we also have not seen yet. So that is fine.
議論の余地などないね。コールドスリープは
It is very interesting. Now everything makes a lot more sense. The show being with CG or 3D makes a lot more sense now because it's based on a game. And it's probably what the game uses. The whole colorful characters, every character has their own design, which is, now that I think about it, it is more common in games, especially in novels. Not visual novels, but kinetic novels or whatever you want to call them, graphic novels. I don't care. Novel games. It is more common for them than in anime, which is interesting. Because look at this design. This is a good design. Very striking. You are not going to, forget this character or swap the character with someone else.
コールドスリープは彼。
Same with SQ, pretty solid. The only one that is a little bit Setsu and Lina are a little bit more generic. But this may also be an in-universe thing. Because he seems more, or they seem more aristocratic, noble, or nobility. It may be that this is why they are displayed like this. It may be a special race that is doing this with a face, with a paint or whatever, tattoo. A lot of things, you could explain in the universe. I saw in the opening, there were also aliens. So this is a potential explanation.
コールドスリープは彼で決まりだ。
同じだ。
They should be put into cold sleep. I'm assuming that Raku is talking about Yuri, meaning Yuri could also be non-gendered. Because Raku did say that gendered people do value the visuals of the other people more than non-gendered people?
決まりだ。
What they look like?
同じだ。最初の時と同じで、ラキオは僕を疑っている。だとすると、この会議でラキオが選ばれ、その後の空間転移中にジナが消される。グノーシア汚染された SQ に。
何その視線。
I'm going to refer to Yuri as he whenever. Sorry about that, but gonna happen. Why is Yuri not seeing that stuff is changing? The whole conversation was different. SQ calling Setsu a man this time instead of a woman. A lot of stuff has changed.
もしかして SQ ちゃんの可愛さに気づいちゃった？惚れたら熱いっぜよ。何か気になるの？
どうする？下手に何か言わない方がいいか。でもこのままじゃ。
Just go confide in Setsu. Be like, hey, I believe SQ is the one. You should vote for her. Yeah, her. Which is interesting, because the only ones we can see as a gendered person are the women. SQ and Gina, one of the two. They have quite a character where we can differentiate them from man or ungendered, while meanwhile the more androgynous characters look more like man because they need to be androgynous. They don't really have much of in the breast size, so we can't really see them as women that much, even though Setsu does look very feminine. But we can't really differentiate them between male and ungendered as easily as ungendered and female.
僕が怪しまれるのは仕方ないと思う。でも本当に僕は人間でグノーシア汚染されていない。
記憶喪失の人間がそれをどう証明するんだい？
私はユーリを信じたい。
私も軍隊にいたから記憶喪失を偽っている人間と接し
Now, it does make sense that Yuri uses their hand to activate the terminal. I just see Gina, Lina, whatever. She she has gloves on, so she can't even use the terminal. And Setsu also has, I feel like, too much cover to use the terminal.
私も軍隊にいたから記憶喪失を偽っている人間と接したことはあるけど、偽り続けるのはそう簡単なことじゃない。大抵すぐにボロが出る。
なら
Yeah, the problem is he doesn't. I mean, he has some amnesia. Can remember some
ここで
parts.
ボロを出させてみせるよ。なに、軽く質問攻めにすればいいだけのことさ。
なんかそれ怪しいんですけど。先生、ラキオがみんなを誘導しようとしてます。
ダメだ、また同じ流れだ。このままだとラキオが選ばれる。
ユーリは誰が怪しいと思っているの？誰かいるの？
よし、いいぞ。これなら自然に言える。
But you don't have any. You don't really have any reason.
見ている感じだと。
I see what's going on here. Yuri is going to be voted off because of the statement. Rakio doesn't trust Yuri. So Gina, Lina, Gina, whatever, is going to take this comment as him or Yuri being a Gnosia. Maybe Setsu is going after Yuri as well.
SQ はどうなんだろうって。
ああ、そうきますか。私もきますか。私も怪しいと思ってた。
ジナ。
さっきユーリたちのことを迎えに行った時、何か気にしている様子だった。
そうなの。
気遣いが裏目に出ちゃいますか。そうですか。こうしてエスキューちゃんは今日も涙橋を渡るのであった。ポロリ。
Okay, she can change her tattoo. I was wondering why. I assumed it would just turn different as like a little bit of an extra thing last time as she was outed as Gnosia. But she can just change it, okay? Or is it maybe that it reflects her personality or feeling?
騙されちゃダメだ。SQ はグノーシア。
別の人間に注目させて自分に疑惑が向かないようにする作戦か。あからさますぎないか？
ラキオ、せっかくいい流れになっていたのに。そう言うけど、僕を怪しむ根拠は？
聞いてなかったのかい？君は記憶喪失を偽っている可能性がある。
でも偽ってない可能性も。
確かにその通りだ。しかしそれを検証する時間はなく、他に疑わしいメンバーもいない。最も疑わしいのは君だ。明白にね。
疑わしきはバシロということ。
僕はこれをそういう会議と認識しているけど。
ラキオは知性で有名なグリーゼ船団国家の白筆市民。
Up on her? Of the Goliath fleet.
議論では絶対にかなわない。
先生、節と有利がこそこそおしゃべりしてます。
いや、違うんだ。これは。
なになに有利、小鳥みたいに生まれて最初に見た説に懐いちゃった。
はは、これは面白い。グノーシアの説が有利を丸め込んでこの会議をリード。その可能性もあるということか。
違う、誤解だ。
って言われましてもね、とてもそうは見えないラブラブっぷり。名探偵 S q ちゃんの目はごまかせませんぞ。
しまった。
ならはっきりさせよう。私と有利の関係は恋人だ。え、前からね。
Really?
本当に？でも節はファンなのに？
ああ、魂でつながっているからね。
それじゃあ犯になった意味がないと僕は思うけどね。
節の意見も聞きたい。節は誰が怪しいと思ってい
You're talking a little bit much.
るの？
You know.
私は直感でこの人が怪しいというのはあるけど、確信が持てないことを口にしたくないんだ。
それって会議の意味なくないっすか？
ああ、分かってはいるんだけど。
Gina's talking far too much. Last time she was not really taking part in these.
敵を作ら
But now she is moving the conversation along. She's more or less putting people in front. So she's on the sidelines. Very suspicious.
ないようにする人間の常套手段だね。これは考えを改めた方が良いかもしれないな。
まずい。どんどんおかしい方に進んでいる気がする。
To be honest, of all these people, the only person that changed is Gina. SQ is the same. Rakio is the same.
時間になりました。
Maybe Gina is the one.
この結果に拒否権は存在せず、投票の結果は全員
今の会議の流れで SQ に票を入れそうなのは僕とジナ。ラキオはわずかに説。SQ は自分でなければ誰でもいいはずだ。
同意。
票を入れそうなのは僕。
Why is my...
とジナ。ラキオはわずかに説。SQ は自分でなければ誰でもいいはずだ。
同意しますか？では審判の時間です。 Who is the Gnosia？
前と同じ結末は嫌だ。頼む、変わってくれ。
投票は終了しました。有効投票数5、投票率 100%。 これより
Again, I mean, we have SQ and Raku probably trying to get Yuri out. And then I feel like Gina's also voting for Yuri.
開票します。
No one is voting for Yuri. Setsu?
決定しました。コールドスリープとなるのは節様です。
Why did everyone vote for Setsu?
すまない。僕が余計なことを。
いや、余計なことを言ったのは私だ。恋人だって言っただろう。もともと嘘は得意じゃないのに。
Yeah, I don't know why you said that.
SQ の印象操作を止めたくて。悪かった。
いや、そうじゃなくて。
うん。
僕は 2回目なんだ、これを経験するのが。
2回目。
ああ、同じ日を繰り返している。だからわかるんだ、グノーシアは S 級。
にわかには信じられないな。
どうしたらいい？
Where's the rest? Last time they were always there to see them being put into cold sleep.
君を助けたい。グノーシアが誰かは分かってるんだ。みんなにちゃんと伝えて。
無理だよ。信じてもらえるはずがない。
でも
時間がないから大切なことだけ言っておく。会議では目立てば目立つほど疑われやすく投票されがちになる。嘘をついている人を探す会議だからね。判断の材料を与えれば与えるだけ不利になる。
It sounds like Gina. It is. Because she is putting everyone in the spotlight.
特に自分に疑いが向けられた時に慌てて否定したり反論するのは危険だ。人によっては動揺していると取る人もいるからね。
セツ様、そろそろ時間です。
分かった。最後に一番大切なこと。誰のことも信じてはダメ。今ここにいる私がグノーシアかもしれないから、そのことを忘れないで。
Do they not know they are the Gnosia themselves?
説
It does have Danganronpa feel to it, but you know, seemingly random. It's not always the same perpetrator. But the whole voting, finding information, see who's lying. No, it would be crazy if the green would be green as a green. The light would be green now. Also, strange that the other people are not here to see this. Now it also makes sense that it shines green for a second. Because in the game it's like, oh, it's green, it's red, it's green, and then red. So the person Yui is going to see is probably Gina.
この宇宙のどこかにいる何か、私たちを別のものに変える何か。
誰も信じちゃう。
SQ は嘘。
That's the same stuff she said
を
last
つ
time.
いているの。教えて。SQ が怪しいと思った根拠。ループしてる。
ああ、でも証拠はないんだ。だか
Don't trust anyone.
ら信じてくれとしか言えないんだけど。
信じる。
え？
私もユーリと同じように思っていた。なんとなくだけど。
本当に。
だからもしユーリが言うなら明日二人で SQ に投票してもいい。
First off, someone is going to die. Don't forget that. If Gina was going to die, so if Gina was going to die, Rakyu and SQ could be together and vote him off. This way, Gnosia has won. If Rakyu dies, as example, those two then vote off SQ, and Gina wins. That is probably what is going to happen.
ジナ。
誰のことも信じてはダメ。
Again, she's very different to the first time. She's a lot more proactive. And she is leading the conversation. And as Setsu was saying, don't trust anyone, which is too late, I guess.
信じられない。ついてきて。
これは？
宇宙空間での作業は二人一組。
So you can do this. wouldn't the ship be like, oh, there's no Gnosia, or Gnosia is still in the ship?
宇宙で仕事をする者はこうやって測るの。相手が信頼できるかどうか。
Yuri, just use your brain. I mean, wait a second. Let's say Gina is Gnosia. You know, let's go with that example. She's now killing him. Then they go into warp. She can kill another one. Then it's one-on-one. She can then vote for the other person. The other person votes for her. Wait for the next warp. Kill the last person. Done. Right?
これ持っていて。地球もこれと同じくらい青い。
地球？
私が生まれた星。
She was born there, huh? I do see the planet. Isn't that the planet we fled from?
私が生まれた星。7割が海の惑星なの。ここからだと果てしなく遠いけど。
どうしてここに？
私、甲虫管制官。それ、渡して。船はアラコシア星系を通る。あそこはアステロイドベルトがあって、船が傷つくことが多いけど、レビはグノーシア騒動のせいで、メンテナンス用の軍地隊を制御する余裕がないから。
やば。
Just let it go?
落ち着いて。
すまない。
酸素濃度、気圧とも問題ありません。外していただいて結構です。
ありがとう、レビ。
どうだった？
So the AI didn't check if the Gnosia was still inside the ship, right? I feel like this would be a way to check everyone.
信頼できる。有利は？
僕は。
The problem is the more you do this, the more untrustworthy you are. So either you are the Gnosia or you die. One of the two.
僕も信頼できると思ったよ。
空間転移までまだ少し時間があります。ユーリ様、喪失された記憶を呼び起こすためにも。
Why are you suggesting that now?
館内を散策されてはどうでしょう。
一緒に行ってもいい？紹介したい。船内のこと。有利に。
You are too close. You are manipulating him
こ
too
こは
much.
レクリエーションルームです。息抜きをしたり、気分転換にいろんなゲームができます。
ビリヤードか。
I'm assuming the first episode was more or less the introduction to the game, where you see, okay, you were wrong, you go back in time, and this is where you... This seems like a still tutorial time where you just get introduced to some of the rooms.
失礼ながら、ユーリ様ではご無理かと。腕が少なくとも4
4 arms.
本は必要となりますし。
3次元チェス。
有利。
なんと恥知らずな。本線は健全な生還行。
What the fuck?
シェス。
有利。
なんと恥知らずな。
First off, this looks like the AI has personality.
本戦は健全な青函高校戦でございます。三次元チェスなどという汚らわしい言葉を。運動不足になったらこちらにどうぞ。
Well, I want to see 3D chess now. What is so obscene about it?
入り口で体をスキャンさせてもらえれば適切な運動プログラムを提案します。
That is pretty solid.
こんなに。
ここが動力室。この船の心臓と言っていい場所です。
へえ、じゃあレビもここに？
No.
申し訳ありませんが、保安上それにお答えすることはできかねます。そろそろ空間転移まで30分を切りました。
So I assume the Gnosia needs access to the heart or the brain. This is more or less the heart, but to the brain of the AI to override it. I'm assuming it's not going to be here. Maybe in the recreation room.
お部屋にお戻りください。
Now this also makes more sense game-wise. I wonder how it works. Can you just do whatever you want and then you just fast forward to the trial or warp? Or do you use your time whenever you move from place to place?
こんな時間に散歩とはのんきなものだね。もうすぐ消されるかもしれないというのに。
消される？
グノーシアは空間転移の時に人間を一人消滅させるんだよ。
Which is also weird. Why can't they just eliminate multiple people?
残っているのは4人、グノーシアは1人。つまり3分の1でこの世からバイバイさ。
そうだ。会議のことばかりですっかり忘れていた。グノーシアが残っている以上、この後一人襲われるんだ。もし僕かジナが襲われたら。ラキオ、少しだけ話をさせてくれないか？
ループ？
ああ。
だからグノーシアが誰かわかるっていうのか？
ああ、信じてもらえないかもしれないけど本当なんだ。だから協力してほしい。僕かジナが今晩襲われていなくなったら、明日残った人間で SQ に投票して。
滑稽だ。これは滑稽以外の何者でもない。
分かってるよ。ループしてるなんて口頭無形だって言いたいんだろ。
はあ？何を勘違いしているんだい？ループのことは信じているよ。実際それを可能にする生命体も存在するか
Okay.
らね。
So if there are life forms that can do that, there are probably life forms that can also interfere with that.
生命体？
問題はその後だ。前の世界戦で SQ がグノーシアだったから、ここでも SQ がグノーシアだって。聞いたことないかい？箱を開けるまで猫がいるかどうかは確定しない。1000年以上も前に証明された因果律の法則さ。
I mean, proven me. Quantum physics and stuff, okay.
確定しない？
そう。たとえ同じ時間を繰り返したとしても、行動や選択によって世界は変わり続ける。それだけじゃない。過去にだって無数の可能性が存在する。それが世界線というものさ。前提は常に変化する。つまり結果も変わっているということさ。
そんな、でも
空間転移まであと10分。ユーリ様、ジナ様、お部屋にお戻りください。
とんだ時間の無駄だったよ。頭を冷やすといい。もっともその前にグノーシアに消されるかもしれないけどね。
I feel like Yuri is the least likely one to get attacked. Because that would mean that... No, maybe he is. Hey, whatever.
そんなグノーシアは S 級じゃない可能性もあるのか。
誰のことも信じてはダメ。
いや、まさか。
信じられなくなった。
そういうわけじゃ。
私は信じてる。
ジナは人間だよね。
そう、私は人間。
What was that?
さっきの何だったんだ。まさかジナが。いや、それを言うならラキオだって怪しい。 S 級だって。結局わからないに逆戻りじゃないか。
おっとっと、ありゃ開いちゃった。
Hmm.
じゃあ失礼してっと。S 級ちゃんだよ。もしかしてあの夜のことも忘れちゃった？
出てってくれないか。
冷たいですぜ。こんな可愛い S 級ちゃんをたった2秒で振るなんて。先入観は良くないですよ。それが答えですか。思ったより可愛い目してると思ったんだけどな。
I mean, you did tell him he would get burned if he ever fell in love with you, so.
空間転移までカウントダウンをいたします。10、9、8、
Rakio's gone.
ユーリ、
I find it interesting that they are able to have any sounds going off them, because it seems like they are in sleep or something like that.
どうやら襲われたのはラキオみたいっすね。
Again, questionable why can't they attack multiple people.
ラキオが。ということはジナと S 級どちらかがグノーシア。
I mean, at this point you have to stick with your guts.
会議を始める？
いいんじゃないっすか。もう話し合うより各自の判断で。
この結果に拒否権は存在せず、投票の結果は全員の意思とみなし、その結果には全員が従う。同意しますか？
どっちだ。
誰のことも信じてはダメ。
私は人間。
つまり結果も変わっているということさ。
前と結果は変わってる。いや、信じろ。
There's no reason to point at Gina at this moment. So you should go with SQ.
あの時 S 級の言葉に惑わされて説を選んで失敗したばかりじゃないか。信じろ、自分が信じたものを。
では審判の時間です。 Who is the Gnosia? 投票は終了しました。有効投票数
Okay.
3、投票率 100%。
Would be crazy if Yuri got 2 votes right now.
ああ。でもコールドスリープって美容的にはどうなんだろう。なに旦那、今さら後悔ですか？こんな可愛い S 級ちゃんを生贄に選んだのは旦那ですぜ。
後悔はしてないよ。ただ
そんなに気に病まないの。別に有利が悪いわけじゃないよ。じゃね、グンナイ。いい夢見ろよ。
頼む頼む頼む。
ユーリ明日会えるといいね。
What do you mean by that?
会えるといいね。
Okay, so stuff changes. Again, Gina was pretty suspicious because she was putting everyone else in the limelight.
分かった。
また戻るのか。最初の日に最初目覚めた時と同じ。
まったく面倒なことになっちまったよな。
あ
What? What the fuck is going on? My assumption was that we go over and over until we finish this game and then we get another example, or we go somewhere else. I did not believe people would change. Man, this has to be trippy as a game. To play the game first, the first test is like the tutorial. The second test seems like an additional tutorial, okay. Maybe you have more of a chance there. And the third game, you are like, okay, locking in, I know what I'm going to do. And then you... What? Now you have different characters.
誰だ。
Is that Raku? No. No.
お慕いしております。ユーリ様。
She can't be bad, right? Okay. Not what I assumed would happen. Interesting. Very interesting. So the characters themselves can change. And every character can be bad. I mean, in terms of the game, this would make a lot of sense. To just switch out the characters in now, so you don't get chew in on the characteristics of the other people. Because now, if you go back, SQ was the ones, Gina was the Gnosia ones. The next time you see all of the first group again, you probably can suss out who is going to be the Gnosia. But now having new people is gonna be difficult.
My